Welcome back, my dear students. This is the O level. Hello, Unit 15, Our Earth. Let's start reading. Here we got empty places, and we got to fill these places with these bold words. This week, global warming. Global warming. This week, Mr. Mohsen, a science teacher, explains global warming to us. The atmosphere is in the air around the Earth. This contains different what? Different gases. Different gases. One of these is what? Carbon dioxide. Although it's a natural gas, it can also be caused by pollution. Pollution from cars and fuels. Pollution from cars and fuels produces extra carbon dioxide. This is a problem. If there is too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the temperature of the Earth will increase. This is called global warming. As the Earth gets hotter, the ice in the Arctic and Antarctica will melt more quickly. The sea will get higher, and this will cause floods. Dry places will become deserts. If these places become deserts, crops will not be able to grow. If we don't have crops for food, it will become very difficult for us to live. So, what can we do about the problem? First, we need to plant more trees because these breathe in carbon dioxide. We are cutting down too many trees. We also need to find solution that cause less problems. Okay, now let's go to this one, exercise number 4. Choose the correct answer. Number 1 is already answered. Number 2, global warming happens when the Earth gets too hot or cold. When the Earth gets too hot. Global warming can or can't cause floods. Can cause floods. The global warming, dry places will become wetter or drier. Will become drier. Number 5. Cutting down a lot of trees is or isn't good for environment. Cutting down a lot of trees isn't good for environment. Now let's go to the next page, page number 30. And in this page we're going to study together the first conditional. And as we know that we have studied it in the last year in Prep 1, grade 7. So right now we're going to explain it again, and we will answer some exercises on this related to this lesson. Number 2. Underline the verbs in these sentences. If the Earth gets hotter, the ice in the Arctic and the Antarctica will melt more quickly. So here, gets is a verb. Gets is a verb. And will melt in the second part of the sentence is another verb. Sentence number 3. If these places become deserts, crops will not be able to grow. Become, here is a verb. Won't be able is a verb. And grow is also another verb. Sentence number 4. If we don't have crops for food, it will become very difficult for us to live. If we don't have crops for food, it will become very difficult for us to live. Have is a verb. Have is a verb. Will become is another verb. And live is also another verb. Now, let's go to the explanation of the first conditional. Here, the first conditional, we use the first conditional to talk about something that we will think probably, that we will think we will probably happen in the future. Again, for the second time, we use the first conditional to talk about what? To talk about something that we think will probably happen in the future. If Ali studies hard, he will pass the test. If Ali studies hard, he will pass the test. The process of being passed in the test, we are not sure from it 100% that it will happen or not. So here we have to use the first conditional if we want to talk about something that we aren't sure from its result it's gonna be happen or not. Okay? So the form of it, if, as you can see here, and after if, present simple. Let's check, let's have quick revision on the present simple. The present simple, if we have at the beginning of the sentence he, she, it, the verb after it, we add to the verb s-e-s, i-e-s, and of course you know when do we add s and es and ies to the verb. And if I find after if, I, you, we, they, we will keep the verb as it is in the infinitive form. On the other side, well, future simple, well or won't, plus the infinitive. Here, some examples. If Mona is quick, she will catch the bus. If it's windy tomorrow, present simple, they won't go to the beach, future simple. Okay? This is for the first conditional. Now let's go to exercise number 2. Make first conditional sentences. You go to London, you see Tower Bridge. If you go to London, you will see Tower Bridge. The answer, if you go to London, you will see Tower Bridge. Number 3, Walid reads his book. Learn about the ancient Egyptians. If Walid reads this book, he will learn about the ancient Egyptians. Number 4, if they don't buy tickets, they won't see the tennis match. Number 5, if I see Hassan, I'll tell him about our family party. Number 6, if you don't listen, you won't understand. The lesson. This is for page number 30. Now let's go to page number 32. Here we got a passage, and during this passage we are going to read the passage, and after that we are going to answer these questions. Okay, now let's start. Desertification. Plants and trees are good for farmers. Their roots help to keep water in the soil. So what happens if we don't have trees or plants? If we cut down the plants and trees, for example, to build houses or to keep animals, the soil will become drier. Wind and rain can carry the soil away. If this continues for a long time, desertification happens. This means that this area becomes a desert. About 16% of the world's people live with a problem of desertification. To help stop it, farmers around the world are planting more trees in dry areas. In Luxor area, the farmers are helping to stop desertification by growing plants called jatropha. These plants have big green leaves and they can grow in a very dry soil. They are very easy to grow. If a piece of plant is cut off and put into the soil, a new plant grows. The seed of the plants contains oil. It can be used as a fuel, which causes less pollution than petrol. In this way, the jatropha plant protects the environment as well as the soil. Now, let's have here some questions in activity number 2. Answer these questions. Why are the plants and trees cut down? Give 2 reasons. Here, to build houses or to keep animals. To build houses or to keep animals. Question number 3. How is soil carried away in nature? How is soil carried away in nature? Give 2 reasons. Here, wind and rain. Wind and rain can carry the soil away. Number 4. How many people live with the problem of desertification? How many people live with the problem of desertification? About 16% of the world people live on the problem of desertification. Where can jatropha plants grow? Where can jatropha plants grow? In Luxor. Okay, in Luxor. Number 6. How does the seed of the jatropha plant help the environment? The seeds of the plants contain oil. It can be used as a fuel, which causes less pollution than petrol. In this way, the jatropha plant protects the environment as well as the soil. Now the review, one here, page number 33. Choose the correct words. The air around the earth contains many gases. The air around the earth contains many gases. Wood is an example of a fuel. Wood is an example of a fuel. 4. If we cut down trees and plants, it will cause or stop desertification, so it will cause desertification. Now use the first conditional. Match to me the first conditional sentence. If Mr. Tariq is ill, if Mr. Tariq is ill, he won't be able to read. He won't be able to read. If you phone this number, you will speak to the manager. You will speak to the manager. If the tourists go to Giza, they will see the permit. They will see the permit. If you go to that restaurant, you will have a really good lunch. You will have a really good lunch. If Karim forgets his glasses, he won't be able to read. So here, I'm sorry for this mistake. In number 2, if Mr. Tari is ill, Mr. Ahmed will teach the lesson. Okay? If Mr. Tari is ill, he will teach the lesson. That's right. Thanks for this lesson, and that's enough for our units. And please don't forget to answer all the exercises related to the units in the workbook. And if you got any trouble, if you got any question, if you got any thing that you don't understand it, just contact me. Thank you very much.